Today we're covering what you all wished for in Modern Horizons 2. We're going to start off by talking about reprints, and then we're going to discuss different characters we want to see. Much like how in Modern Horizons 1, Yogmoth got his actual card. It's going to be stuff like that. Now, if I mispronounced your name, I apologize. I'm going to do my best here. Starting off with EinLan, predicting that we get a full cycle of the Archmage's Charm variety. So in Modern Horizons 1, we had Archmage's Charm, really powerful card. Like, it's great, powerful, strong card, but it is triple blue, which is difficult to cast. Like, even when you see dedicated blue control decks, sometimes getting triple blue on turn 3 is still rather difficult. You gotta affect your mana base. Sometimes they play the filter lands to try to accomplish this. I like this cycle idea because this charm is really difficult to cast, which means you can push the power level a little bit without it feeling too oppressive, because you're not gonna see it in a million decks. So filling out the other 4 colors, great idea. Off to a great start. HudLeah wishes for careful study. Thinks it won't be too bad for Modern, and Jeanie says the same thing. He wants to make Phoenix good again. Yep, so we've seen this. A lot of people thinking that Faithless Looting is just too powerful with the flashback effect, because Faithless Looting is card disadvantage technically, but it's certainly not when you get one in your graveyard and you're casting it from there. And overall, even one Faithless Looting being cast twice really isn't card disadvantage because you're getting so much selection and so much synergy with your graveyard. It was too powerful. It did get banned, lived on borrowed time. It was legal for far too long. People think careful study is a better idea. It's blue, which definitely makes it different than being red. That is definitely a major factor. Does that make it more powerful or less powerful? I think less powerful, but we'll see. And then, of course, no flashback. Seems good. Baku wants Hymn to Turok, Sinkhole, and Dark Ritual. Some men just want to watch the world burn. This is wildness. Hymn to Turok, I'm a fan. I want it. You all know that. I want to see it in Modern Horizons 2. Sinkhole? All right. I hate Tron as much as the next guy, but even I have my limits. Picture this. You're on the draw, 2 land opening hand, couple things to do. Awesome. Fun. Okay. Turn 1 cycle goes by, you both do something, or maybe you don't something, you get yourself a Triome or a fetch land or shock land tapped, whatever you do. And then you pass the turn back. And now it's turn 2 for your opponent, and they cast Sinkhole. So now they have 2 lands, and you have 0 lands. Well, that's not good. And I think that's a little too oppressive. If this were to be legal, fun little thought experiment, maybe, you never know, crazy things could happen. This would definitely push down the mana curve of Modern, because you cannot be casting 3 or 4 mana spells with Sinkhole being widespread. So it's really going to push the mana curve down, which I think is overall bad for a format. I think bigger mana is not big mana. No, let's not get carried away. No Primeval Titan. But big mana, 3, 4 CMC spells, those are fun. Those are a lot of fun. It makes the format fun. I think Sinkhole is a little bit too oppressive here. And then Dark Ritual, he does recognize it's probably not going to happen. No, I agree. I do not think Dark Ritual will happen, and I hope it doesn't. Diam Urki wants to see Leovold in Modern. I think this is great. I honestly don't think Leovold would be too crazy. I mean, it's triple colors, difficult to cast. No one's playing Sultai, some people do, and maybe this will push people over the edge into playing Sultai. And because Modern's not a format that's defined by the cantrips like Legacy is, it's not going to be too oppressive, not letting opponents draw multiple cards. And then the fact that it gets a card on its way out when you trigger it with a kill spell, great. It's a 3 mana, and if it dies, then you get your card back. I think that's totally fine. Theoretically, I mean, I could be missing something obvious, and some of these cards you just don't know until you get to play with them in the format. And they printed Hogak and then just banned it, so they could print whatever card they want and just ban it a month later. Who knows? We'll still keep playing Magic, so maybe we'll try Leovold, and if it's too powerful, get rid of it. Mutiga Spy Key Skyance wants Ankh of Mishra. This is interesting. Ankh of Mishra is interesting. He doesn't think it's going to be too powerful. It does 2 damage every time it land enters the battlefield, and he hates ramp decks just as much as the next guy. He sees them as being oppressive to the format. So, Mutiga Spy Key Science. Man after my own heart. Big fan of this because let's all hate on big mana decks. That's what we do. Max iPhone wants to see Hibernation Sliver. We talked about a lot of slivers in the last video, and Hibernation Sliver was not covered. This is a great one. 2 mana, bounce it back to your hand, or excuse me, 2 life, pay 2 life, bounce it back to your hand, instant speed. So you dodge all removal, and basically you just put it all back in your hand. Interesting card. We'll see. Again, it's like it's an uncommon. So if it were to be printed, then all of a sudden slivers became an oppressive deck, and this particular play pattern became too oppressive, they could always ban it. But I don't think it would be. Like, this is not going to be a scourge of modern. I think you should do it. Let's make creature decks great. Jeanie Argo Lies wants to see Stifle or Daze. This to me is madness. He's mostly a Legacy player. He's used to this play pattern. Legacy is a different format, and you can't just port over everything into this. Now, granted, cut him some slack here. He did say he would rather see those effects over Wasteland, right? So compared to Wasteland, I agree. You'd rather see those effects, but well, at least for Stifle. Daze, however, no. Daze, that will not be fun. I don't want to play against Daze. It's just so strong, so powerful, but crazier things have happened. A fun Spa-C Mayrine wants to see Uro unbanned. I don't even want to give this comment any legs to stand on. We don't want that. Rotem Izhar wants to see Imperial Seal. Now, clearly, he is a combo player. It's the only reason you want to see this card. He'd also like to see Gaia have a creature card. Now that I can get behind. Now, we're pivoting here to the creatures that we want to see, the characters we want to see get a card. I like the idea of Gaia getting a card, but I also kind of don't. Like, Gaia's been, it's like, what is Gaia? It's more of a spirit. It's like the embodiment of Mother Earth. Like, I kind of like that it's more mystical and a little bit elusive. And I think that's fun. I think that's very fitting for Gaia, the idea, the concept. So I kind of like that she doesn't have a card. But if she were to get a card, it better be freaking powerful, okay? Like, let's make sure this thing is just a powerhouse and not oppressive, not like Urza, who said, hey, let's make sure that its mana ability isn't affected by, Stony Silence. Yeah, that was a terrible idea in my opinion. But if Gaia gets a card, it better be playable. Seabass Tyann Rich Ardson wants to see a new version of Iran the Relentless. I don't know why you need a new version. I mean, we already have Iran played enough in Modern. Like, do you really need to have multiple Irans coming in? I mean, that's just too much in my opinion. The original printing was so powerful and such a strong creature. Why do we need more of this? I just can't get behind it, sorry. No, really, this one sounds like fun. I think it's great. Give an old legend a new card that's better and can actually see some play. Awesome idea. EinLan, again, has some great ideas here. Let's see, Yogmoth, God of Phyrexia. So this is a cool idea. Yogmoth did get its own card, right? Therian Physician in Modern Horizons 1, which is awesome. But let's see him be the God of Phyrexia, which he was. Like, it's a really powerful card, character in the story. Let's see him be the God of Phyrexia. I think that'd be cool. That could be fun. He also wants to see all the other Theros Titans. I didn't even know that there were more than 2 Theros Titans, but apparently there are, right? For when we went to Theros Beyond Death. There's a bunch of other Titans in addition to Cruxa and Uro, and they just didn't get cards. I guess it was supposed to be a 2-block set, and then it got cut down to just 1 set, really. So we lost some characters. That could be cool. Get those other Titans. Escape is a cool mechanic. I don't know if they want to add Escape as like a draftable mechanic and have it be part of the format, or they just want to add a couple cards. Could be cool. He also wants to see a good Mishra, right? We've seen Mishra before, but not the most powerful card ever printed. So let's make sure we get a better one that can actually see some modern play and constructed play. Great, let's do it. I think that sounds awesome. Baku Goku, again, wants to see Gixx get a card. We do have a legend regarding Gixx, or Gixx. I'm not sure how to say that, but it's not actually himself, which is odd, right? We have Rona, Disciple of Gixx, as a legendary creature, and we have some other cards that have referenced Gixx in the name, but no actual Gixx having his own card. Kind of weird that we have a legendary card, but it's not the actual character that we would think it would be. Einstein coming in a 3rd time, coming in hot with a bunch of other recommendations, which are great. We have Leshrac. We have Leshrac's Herald. We know about his right, his sigil, and his minion, but we don't know anything about him himself. What would he be as a character? And that's what I want to know. Also wanting a Taser Planeswalker card, I can totally get behind this. A major character in the story, the original story of Magic the Gathering. Never got a Planeswalker card. That could be awesome. Obviously, Planeswalkers weren't a type back in the day, in the 90s with Ice Age and stuff. They are now. But one of my favorite cards regarding Taser is going to be Wanderlust. The flavor text here is one of the most metal lyrics I've ever seen in my life. How terrible to wander, wishing only to escape oneself. Like, that is deep, man. That is deep. I love it. And lastly, can Guff get an actual character card? I love this one. Again, can this one be really powerful? Can this be a strong card that actually sees play? I can get behind this one. Guff is a character that's one of the smartest guy ever. He lives in a hidden library in Dominaria, and that library is supposed to have every book ever written in it. How does he not have a card? Great point. Smartest character in the world, no card. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe we could have a library. That could be cool. Like a library that actually sees play. Not Sylvan Library or Library of Alexandria, obviously, but some type of land card that lets you draw that's a little more balanced and actually worth playing. That could be really cool and a great homage to Guff. That does it for today's video. I think Modern Horizons 2 is going to be an awesome home run set. It is wild what we see prices doing with pre-orders. That's going to be absolute craziness. We're still like a month and a half away from the set. I guess now it's like a month away, so a little bit closer, 5 weeks. It's too early. I'm not a big fan of pre-ordering stuff. The set's going to come out, and we don't even know what cards are in it yet, but we do know it's going to be amazing because those old border fetch lands, those are beautiful.